now the...
Join us on an adventure through some of the most dangerous roads in Mexico, searching for the true Mexican Red Knee Tarantula in the dead of night, encountering creatures we didn't expect, and finally finding one in bright daylight, where you can actually see why this spider is legendary. In the last video we arrived at our first site just before dark. We found the largest whip spider in the world and we continued searching for Brachypelma smithi. For decades, the tarantula hobby has been selling a different species under this name. Most smithi in collections, they're actually Brachypelma hamorii, a closely related species from further north. And the numbers are staggering. Between 2006 and 2016, over 21,000 tarantulas were traded internationally as Brachypelma smithi, but almost all of them were hamorii. Interesting fact, almost every single one of these traded specimens were captive bred. Brachypelma smithi are nocturnal. They spend the day deep in their burrows, but at night they come up to the entrance to hunt. These are ambush predators. They don't build webs, they don't chase prey, they wait from dusk, sometimes into the early hours in the morning.
Another tarantula on our list. Amazing. Brachypelma smithi, the real smithi. Just look at this beautiful spider. Quite lucky that we just found her. Nothing more to say.
And the real smithi, it only lives here, in the Mexican state of Guerrero, south of the Balsas River, from the mountains all the way down to the coast near Acapulco. The river, the Balsas, it's the dividing line. North of the river, hamorii, south of the river, smithi. Two species separated by water, confused by humans for over 100 years. This is one of the most restricted ranges of any Brachypelma species, and until recently, one of the least documented in the wild. Now, we were extremely lucky to find this adult female sitting outside of its burrow, just waiting for prey. Usually, we need to tickle out the specimens to get a better look at them and take pictures and videos. So, the technique we use is pretty simple. You find a burrow, you use a tickling stick, just a thin twig or grass stem, and then you gently vibrate it at the entrance. And if there is a spider home, she thinks it's prey. You see these orange legs? That's an adult female. She's investigating the vibrations. Now, her posture, she's actually ready to strike. She is in a hunting position, and we found several burrows that night. Some adult females, some juveniles too. And here's something interesting. In this part of Mexico, male smithi wander at night, and on the west coast, other Brachypelma species like hamorii and böhmei, the males actually wander during daylight, morning and evening mostly. But here, south of the Balsas, the males move usually in darkness. In torchlight, you never get the full picture. The colors are always a bit muted. You see the hints of orange, the flashes of red and deeper orange or high colored orange tones, but not the real beauty of the species. For that, we actually need daylight. The next morning, we set out early. This part of Guerrero is simply stunning. Mountain roads winding through dry forest, valleys opening up below, the Sierra Madre del Sur stretching toward the coast. It's also not easy terrain. The roads are rough, some sections washed out completely, and the further south you go, the more remote it gets. So we stopped at a promising site just after sunrise. The forest here is different, more vegetation, more shade, perfect conditions for searching before the hunt builds up. And this is actually our first surprise in the morning. A little snake, always a reminder that we're sharing this habitat with other predators. And tarantulas have enemies out there as well. Tarantula hawks, those big parasitic wasps, coatis, birds, and snakes like this one. And then a burrow. We found a tarantula burrow with a big adult female waiting inside, but the orange was missing. So we were pretty sure that this is actually a Tliltocatl species. It could be the Mexican rose-gray tarantula. It is named after our dear friend Jean-Michel Verdezi from France, an arachnologist we truly admire for his expeditions and efforts back in the 90s. He did an incredible work documenting Brachypelma species and other tarantulas around the globe when very few people were paying attention. Another species endemic to this region used to be called Brachypelma verdezi, but it was moved to Tliltocatl in 2020. Same revision that clarified smithi and hamorii. And now, if you know verdezi, you might notice something very unusual here.
Ist ein längerer Steck.
Ja, nein, der Steck ist genug lang, aber ich muss einen haben, den ich hinziehen kann.
Look at her carapace. It's almost entirely black. Typical verdezi have a brown carapace with a black triangular pattern, but this female, it's much darker than normal. We discussed the photos later with Jorge Mendoza at UNAM, one of Mexico's leading arachnologists and friend who helped us throughout the whole field trip documenting these tarantulas in nature, and he confirmed it. This is Tliltocatl verdezi, just an unusually dark individual. It's a good reminder that wild populations show more variation that we know and see in captive bred animals, but out here nature doesn't read the care sheets. Beautiful animal, we filmed and documented and took pictures and everything.
Day 4. Tarantula is already in the burrow, but now huge adult female of Tliltocatl something, we don't know yet, but we will look it up, on a bicycle trail. So that's another way of getting into the forest. Good morgen. And now we will release her back. Hold it? Okay. Perfecto. Yes.
This little creature, a true crocodile, was just a few meters away from the spot we found Tliltocatl verdezi. It's a reminder that we're always being watched by some predator. We're back in the vehicle, pushing further into smithi territory, and the terrain here is brutal, like rocky hillsides, steep embankments, river crossings, and the heat. It's oppressive, hot, humid, kind of conditions where you're soaking through your shirt by mid-morning. And this is subtropical dry thorn forest, classic smithi habitat, and now just after the rainy season, it is extremely lush. They live from sea level up to about 1500 meters, always near seasonal watercourses, always in areas with good shade from trees or bushes, but finding them during the day means finding burrows. And burrows here, they're not obvious. Here's the thing about smithy burrows. They don't web their entrances. No silk, no giveaways, just a hole, often under a rock or tucked into tree roots. And the burrow itself, it's a complex structure. A horizontal tunnel, about 3 times the spider's body length, leading to a molting chamber, usually, and then a vertical shaft down to a larger resting chamber where she feeds and sleeps. It's not always the case, but especially with specimens who are there for a longer period of time in the same burrow, they do have the time to build it up. Sometimes they dig these themselves, sometimes they just take over old rodent burrows and modify them. And we checked dozens of spots. And then, finally, that burrow. See the size of it? That's not a typical spider excavation, that's an old rodent burrow. Something dug this originally and a spider moved in. Big entrance usually means big spider. And now we try again with our tickling stick and tickling technique, nice and gentle. And yeah, that's actually a pretty big adult female of Brachypelma smithi. And with this light, finally, you can see what makes this tarantula so special. Look at those colors. The patella, the knee segments, that red-orange isn't just on top. It wraps around the sides, completely orange. In hamorii, the species most people have, those sides are black. That's one of the easiest ways to tell them apart. And the setae, the long hairs on the legs, see how they catch the light? Golden, almost yellow. Hamorii has grey-white hairs. Smithi has gold. And once you know, you can't unsee it. The carapace, that starburst pattern, orange and black radiating outward from the center. The chelicera, the fang segments actually there. Nice and clean, no lighter striping. In hamorii, you often see these longitudinal lines of lighter colored hairs running down the chelicera, but smithi doesn't have that. Clean, dark, uniform. And she's extremely calm now, just watching us, feeling the vibrations surrounding her. And these spiders actually have a reputation for being extremely docile. But these are wild animals and they're always unpredictable. So we're being careful. Look at the size of her abdomen. She's extremely well fed, healthy, probably been in this burrow for many years, maybe even decades. Female Brachypelma can live 20, 30 years. They don't reach maturity until they're 9 or 10 years old, and then they might live another 20 years after that. Think about that. This spider might have been here since the early 2000s, sitting in this same burrow, watching the world change around her. And yeah, males don't usually get that luxury. They mature faster, 7 or 8 years, but once they reach adulthood, they have maybe a year, one mating season, and then they're gone. Every September through January, the males emerge. They wander the forest at night, searching for females, following pheromones, hoping to find a burrow, and the receptive female, of course. If he's lucky, he mates and then hopefully escapes. If he's not, well, she might eat him. The females, they stay put. They produce egg sacs in the dry winter months. Each sac can contain anywhere from 100 to over 1,000 eggs. But here's the brutal reality. 99% of those spiderlings probably won't survive to adulthood. Predators, disease, starvation, the odds are stacked against them from day one. But this female, she beat those odds. She's one of the survivors. But surviving nature is one thing, surviving humans, that's another challenge entirely. Brachypelma smithi is listed as near threatened by the IUCN. In Mexico, it's officially classified as a threatened species. And the threats are real. Urbanization, the port city of Acapulco keeps expanding into the foothills. Tourism, development, hotels, roads. Every year, more habitat disappears. That coastal highway, the Pacific Highway, runs through Smithi territory. Every mating season, when males wander across the road searching for females, hundreds of them get killed by cars. People don't even notice. Or worse, they go out of their way to run them over. And then there was also, or probably still is, the illegal pet trade. And despite CITES protection, despite Mexican law, smugglers still collect wild smithi. So if you keep Brachypelma, or in general tarantulas, at home, please always make sure to get captive bred ones.
So, on the day 4 on our trip, we just found a beautiful Brachypelma smithi, an adult female. So this Brachypelma smithi lives together with Bonetina hymensi, and we just found her in that burrow over there. It's a beautiful adult female, and for a long time they were confused with the Brachypelma hamorii, which is a little bit further up north. And yeah, not much more to say. It's just an incredible tarantula, and we are super fortunate and lucky to document this in its natural habitat. It's a few weeks after rainy season, so there is quite, like for 2 or 3 months, there is a lot of downpour here in this region. And yeah, so now the dry season starts. The males should be wandering around. This female actually is very healthy looking, so maybe it's already paired with the male, and hopefully there will be an egg sac soon. And yeah, we'll return her back into the burrow after we took some pictures and videos, and continue searching for the Bonetina species. It would be nice if we find them as well. Cheers!
Most of us will never come to Guerrero, never search these hillsides, never see these spiders in wild Mexican sunlight. But knowing it's here, knowing what it really looks like, knowing that it needs protection, I really think that matters. And if you want to see more wild tarantulas, feel free to subscribe. There is way more coming. See you in the next one.